Are you married or in a committed relationship looking for real advice on having love and enriching your relationship? You are in the right place. Welcome to The Couples Expert with Stuart Fensterheim.
Hello, and welcome to the Couples Expert Podcast. This is Stuart Fensterheim coming to you again from the podcast here in the privacy of my room. I love podcasting because you can do it anywhere. You know, I could even be doing this taking a poop, but I don't think I should probably say that, but I did, so we're going to let it run. That's what's so exciting about podcasting. You can do it anywhere and everywhere. And one of the things that I just finished doing, which is so god-darn exciting, and I'm actually in the middle of, which is I'm doing a talk at PodFest 2018. PodFest was a conference that I just got back from, and I am so jazzed from there. I, for the first time, was able to do a presentation for a bunch of podcasters on the love that I have and the passion that I have for podcasting and how to build your audience so that everyone knows what you do. And what I do is deliver a message about love. Love is so wonderful when it's working. When it's not, however, it can make your life seem like a bloody hell. So what I plan to do today, because this podcast is being brought to you during the week that has Valentine's Day. Now, Valentine's Day is the day that most of us celebrate the love that we have for our partners. I've done over the last couple of years podcast on Valentine's Day about what gifts to give your partner, just all about that day. Today, what I'm going to be talking about, and this may be a surprise to some of you, romance is not just about Valentine's Day. Oh my God, you mean it's not? Yes, it is not. Valentine's Day is a day in the calendar, not that different than any other day. But for some God-known reason, some of you think it is the only day to tell your partners that you love them. You don't love each other only on February 14th. If you do, shame on you. If you only let your partners know that you love them on this particular day, I would suggest you probably don't have a great relationship. Don't let yourself be limited by a holiday. Romance is a living, breathing aspect of your partnership. It should be a way of expressing yourself to each other that you don't share with anyone else but that one person. It's your secret looks and touches, your love language that you speak only to that one special person in your life. That's what romance is about. But let's look at this. You know, when my daughters were growing up, Disney defined for them romance. For me, it was Hallmark. The Hallmark version, the Disney version, versus real romance. The history of Valentine's Day evolved from Victorian times with this concept of romantic love that Cupid, and I remember Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare, when I was growing up, was big in terms of defining for us what love is about. And when we walk into a store, a Hallmark card store, although I don't know how many of those still exist, because now with online and e-cards and all those things, they've begun to define what romance is. If you walk into Safeway supermarket here locally, you will see a whole load of cards that's about telling someone I love you. If you walk into there, you will see a lot of guys around the card table going, oh my gosh, I got to get this card. It's really a myth, in my opinion, that men don't know how to be romantic or that they're not romantic. My wife would tell you that I am one of the most romantic men that she ever met, and I say that with pride. Romance is about exposing yourself vulnerably. But if you're a man that was raised with the idea that you aren't romantic or shouldn't be, I've got news for you. It's not that hard. It's easy to romantic, but you can't confine yourself to the hallmark version of what romance should be. Part of what we want to do is take our cues from our partners, get a sense what they find is romantic. You can find a lot about this just from watching, paying attention, looking at what they do online and looking at who they are and knowing vulnerably your partners in a deep way will tell you a lot about them. How they define romance for most women is not your typical roses and chocolates. What I want to talk about here having to do with that is how much we spend on candy and flowers and cards for Valentine's Day. It's a billion-dollar industry. And for what? For some dead plants and empty calories that you only have to try to get rid of later on. I'm not saying you shouldn't observe the holiday this way with a gift or a treat, but don't fall into the commercial trap of buying flowers and candy for Valentine's Day. Make your gifts meaningful and make them count. Use the money that you would have spent on these flowers to buy something for your partner that they'll truly appreciate, will see the time and the energy that you spent, and will have a sentimental attachment and something that's going to last with them long after Valentine's Day is over. You know, I know one couple, for example, who spends their Valentine's Day on a charitable event, a fundraiser, a dinner that will benefit others. Think about what that does. If this is a charity that's important to your partner, what would it be like to turn to them and in a Valentine's Day card say, I love you so much and so appreciate all the time and energy that you spend in this that I've donated $200 to this charity in your honor. Will they say, you were supposed to get me chocolate and roses? Or would they say, oh my God, I've never had someone love me so deeply, that you listen and know what's important to me, and that's what you do to show me your love. I would suggest to you that will be a very sexy night. But what does romance really mean? And what makes it last all year and not just be something that shows up on Valentine's Day? What I'm trying to convey here is that the most romantic things are not necessarily things. They are thoughts and actions that show your partner how important, how esteemed, and how loved they are throughout the year. Your partner's idea of romance might be just a day together watching movies or bringing on your favorite Netflix show. It may be surprising her with a drive in the country and a lunch at a remote cafe, a hike in the mountain wilderness, or a walk at the shore. Top it off with a small token of your love that you've picked out because you know it's just her taste. These small things become very big things in showing you care. The thoughtful gestures and meaning behind the gestures. The more thoughtful and well-meaning your gift is, the more romantic it's going to be. If he's just not one of those warm, fuzzy kind of guys and you smother him with love, he's going to be one. We all have the need to feel important and loved. However, you might have to show that to your partner. If you spend time thinking about it, choosing the right thing at the right time that sends him a message that you truly care for him, that's incredibly romantic. Show and tell him that he's your world and that you don't want anyone but him for the rest of your life. How much more romantic can that get? And demonstrating that kind of commitment and involvement is a way of teaching him what you might need. Showing kindness throughout the year, noticing, paying attention, and appreciating, tuning in, and please be present. Keeping the romance alive means always looking for opportunities to show love. Being kind, not critical. Being solution-based instead of blaming. Showing your partner in words, deeds, actions that they're the most important person in your life, and being that consistently aware that all the things that you do together make your life better. showing appreciation, saying thank you, being polite, just being nice. I like to joke about the thing that irritated me. One of the first things that my wife said to me when we first got together that really made me mad. I asked her at one point, "Why do you love me? What is it about me that really says to you that we should be together?" I was hoping and praying that she was going to say something like, "You are just so sexy." But instead, she said, "You're the kindest person I know." I was mad. How dare you say that? That's not a romantic thing. But is it? When I thought about this even further, I recognized something. She handed me a gift. The gift was saying to me, she sees the qualities of me in kindness, and that's not going to go away. Being sexy might change when I get a little overweight. Being kind doesn't change. And what my wife said to me is that kindness was the most romantic thing that I could do for her. I sometimes slip on the job in doing that, but for the most part, we are kind to each other. Even when we get into our cycles, and we all do, remembering the kindness and who she is deep down. Because who my wife is one of the most caring people that I know. And her being caring and kind takes us through these rough edges so much easier. So many long-term couples are in your set routines and they know each other so well that all you do is give a grunt or mumble passes for a conversation. This is not the way to keep romance alive. There should always be a little bit of discovery and learning and growing together. What I would like you to do this Valentine's Day is have a goal to be closer to each other in every aspect. Getting to know your partner's desires and loves, and the goal of really understanding each other. If you do that, you will be considered the most romantic partner she's ever had. One of the things we can do, and we've talked about this before on this podcast, is you can do these random acts of kindness. I'm going to now call them something different. Random acts of romance. I'll be giving you some ideas about this later in the podcast for some out-of-the-box romantic gestures. So pay attention, because these acts of romance that I'm talking about now are for the two of you to connect in such a deep, loving way. Don't limit yourself to one day or one holiday. You should be giving gifts, sharing sexy encounters, loving moments, and special couples adventures that will keep you feeling romantic and in love every single day, all year round. Do some practical things for each other that are not typically defined as romantic. Fill your partner's car with gas. Bring them coffee in the morning. Do their laundry, and that's for the guys. Make sure that they keep their appointments. All these mundane things really are ways that we nurture each other. But on the surface, it doesn't seem very romantic, does it? But what I'm going to tell you is they are incredibly romantic. And when you're coming from a place of love and adoring your partner sees gestures. My wife does something for me because she knows that I have something that my dad used to call CRS. Anyone out there know what CRS is? It means can't remember shit. So what my wife typically does on a regular basis, when we have something going on, she'll call me up or text me and say, put a reminder in your phone because we're supposed to be at your brother's later. Or don't forget that we have this appointment. That extra step of her giving me a reminder about something that she knows I wouldn't want to be late for or miss, I see as incredibly romantic. One of the ways to always be that couple, when we are walking down the street and we see that 80-year-old couple who've been married forever, holding hands, and when they look at each other, you just feel the love. You can have that kind of starry-eyed look after years of being together. Because what you have are a joined shared history of the things that make you smile, your inside jokes, exchanging looks, flirting and courting each other every single day, and anticipating that time in your life when it won't just be the two of you. And yes, having great sex, saying I love you, even though sometimes you're not liking each other at that moment, but you recognize and you know that we've had moments of great love and passion and kindness and caring, that's more important than the current strife. When you leave your home, one of the tricks, and I'm going to give you a trick that I've done for a long time, and I need you all not to tell my wife this one, because it's my secret. One of the things that I do is I make a note in my calendar, and that every few days, sometimes it's weeks, I put a note, go back in. And what it means is that when I leave for work, I stop my car, get out of my car, come back into the house, because I usually leave before she does, and I say to her, I had to come back in to give you a kiss, because I love you that much and I can't go that long without a kiss. Now you might say that's really hokey. Guess what? It is. But let me tell you something, guys and ladies. It will allow you to have a relationship with your partner that will bring you great joy and them great joy, because they won't question whether or not you love them. And having a relationship with a partner where they are secure in that piece of this, that romantic piece where they know they're loved. There are things that you can do that are utterly not romantic, but could also be the most romantic thing you'll ever do. I know this sounds like a contradiction, but stay with me. I know what I'm talking about here. If you do some of these or all of these things throughout the year, I can all but guarantee that your partner will begin to see you as the most romantic person in her life ever. Honestly. It's not that hard to be romantic, and when you think outside the box and forget about the media's portrayal of what's romantic and use your partner as a guide, you'll find new ways of looking at romance. Guys, I want you to listen to me with an open mind. Some of these things may sound counterintuitive, but bear with me. You will soon see what I'm getting at. Number one, try setting up a romantic spa day for one. Provide the candles, the wine, great food, and music, and then you leave. Did you hear that right? I mean it. Couples massages are great, but wouldn't your partner love to have a day of pampering where she didn't have to worry about whether you were getting what you need as well? Allow her a day to indulge and be pampered with all that girly stuff you hate, and she will think it's the most romantic thing you've ever done. You also can get creative and come up with a scavenger hunt type game, a mystery meetup where you tease and taunt her and make it annoying like a chore. Leave her clues and talk in riddles until she figures out where to go for the next clue. Then have her arrive for a beautiful meal, an overnight stay at a fantastic B&B or inn. Have the honeymoon room with all the trimmings, the wine, the flowers, the in-room hot tub. Make it all about the two of you being close and loving and romantic together. Another idea is overwhelm her with tickets to that chick flick or play that you really don't want to see. If you do this, she'll be blown away because she'll know you're doing it just for her. Keep your mouth shut or fill it with popcorn, but don't make fun or criticize. Just allow her to enjoy this and make it nice for her. Now here's for the ladies. For you girls, it can be difficult to be romantic for your man if he's not that type of romantic person for you. This is where you have to think outside the box and do some things you might not think as traditionally romantic. Here we go. One idea is send him to visit friends or family far away that he hasn't seen for many years. You can secretly contact his college roommate, the best man from his wedding, or his dad who lives in another state. Arrange a trip where all he has to do is show up for the plane. everything's taken care of, and he has a few days to reconnect with his loved ones and do a planned activity. He'll come back with an appreciation for you and also his life. Get him and a friend tickets to their favorite sports team and a team jersey. Send them off without you. Again, can solo activities be romantic? Absolutely. If he's into sports and you're not, why shouldn't he go with a friend and really enjoy the game and have a great time, even if it's without you? He'll have so much love for you for doing that for him. It doesn't take a special occasion for you to do something awesome for your partner. Here's a couple more. Take his mom out for dinner and a movie. This doesn't involve him, but someone he loves. He'll see you put the effort in doing this, and he will know it's being done as a romantic gesture for him. This is the person he probably loves the most in the world next to you and your kids. That you take that time to spend with that person and get to know her and treat her kindly is a wonderful thing. He will interpret that as being romantic. You may notice that a lot of these things that you'll do alone and not as a couple, that's why they're unromantic. Or are they romantic? You don't always have to be there to do something loving and amazing for your partner that will come across as romantic. Save your cards and flowers for Valentine's Day and be unromantically romantic the rest of the year. When is the last time you took a relationship checkup? Sure, we get our vehicles serviced, have maintenance done on our homes, and see our local doctor to make sure our bodies are in good working order. But sadly, we tend to neglect one of the most important things in our lives, the health of our relationship. You get mammograms, you get a prostate check, but do you check your relationship? Most of us don't. The relationship checkup and assessment will provide you with a comprehensive information about the level of satisfaction you have with your partner, how deep the emotional connection is, how strong your trust and commitment is, and whether or not you deal with conflict well. The best part is you don't have to do it alone. The couples expert will provide you with a 30-minute consultation to help you feel really strong and empowered to do all that you can because you take the ownership of your relationship by the two of you working together and taking the annual survey. For merely the cost of dinner and a movie, you can set yourself on the road to a fulfilling and fabulous relationship that will last a lifetime. Go to www.thecouplesexperts.com and sign up today to register for your relationship checkup. Now back to the episode. You can always be thinking out of the box and planning great unconventional ways to surprise and delight your partner. One event leads to the next, and pretty soon you and your partner are both doing this. And if you're both doing it, invested and excited about this, you will have a relationship that is so darn special. What I want you to be thinking about and planning every single day is really doing something every single day that is romantic in these kinds of kind gestures. One of the things that I offer for a select group of my listeners is if you go on my website, you'll see Stuart's Daily Notes. There I give a tip a day of something you can do that really sends the message to your partner that you love them. What I don't always do is a tip a day for something romantic. If you have ideas like that, send me some. If you like these ideas that I just laid out, tell me about it. If you have others that you've done, let me know that too so I can spread the word on these things, because this is how we change our world. What I want to remind all of you as we close today is not everything is a huge romantic epic gesture. More often over time, it's the little kindnesses, the caring touches, the loving considerations we show to our partners. That's what gives them that warm, fuzzy feeling when they think of us. When you meet a friend and they say, "I saw your wife the other day," and that brings a smile to your face because you got to see her too, much more than he ever will. and that's special for you. Please give me feedback on these podcasts. I love doing these. I love talking about the topics that really matter to you. And if you do that, you can write to me at podcast@thecouplesexperts.com. And that way I respond to every single email that I get on these. Let me know what you're appreciating, some ideas that you would like me to podcast on, and I'll be happy to do that. Next week, I'm doing something a little different. Something I did a few years ago, but I'm trying to update this. My podcast will be on discussing emotionally focused therapy. What is it exactly, and how does it work? I've done a lot of training in this. As most of you know, I'm an emotionally focused therapist. This is what I use in my couples expert office practice with my clients. A whole lot more about this next week, and I really hope you'll join me. So until next time, do your best to find everyday romance in your relationship. Be sweet, be kind, be caring, and most importantly, please stay connected. Take care now, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. This episode has ended, but your journey continues. Head over to www.thecouplesexperts.com to access all the links and resources mentioned in this episode, as well as bonus content exclusive to podcast listeners. Enjoyed this episode? Why not hit subscribe now and never miss an episode?